My name's Kyle, and I like to travel, but I don't like to spend money. Let's talk about that. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel and welcome to my studio. I've kind of always had this dream that one day I could build my own film studio. So I took advantage of this quarantine and did just that. Today, I'm going to be showing you how I book cheap flights like these in order to travel the world without breaking the bank. I'm going to start by giving you 10 tips that I use every time I'm looking for a cheap flight. Then I'm going to show you an actual example of me finding a cheap deal under $400 round trip to Europe on the spot. Tip number 1, be flexible. I'm sure you've heard before that if you want to find a good deal on airfare, you have to be flexible. And that's 100% true. Not only with just your dates, your destination, and sometimes even what airport you leave out of. Now, you're probably thinking, how can I be flexible with what airport I leave out of? I live here. Well, tip number 2, fly out of hub airports, especially for international flights. Personally, I always look at any airport I can fly to for under $100 round trip. Then I search for cheap international flights out of those airports as well. If I can find a good deal, then I can save a lot of money. For example, if I want to fly direct Phoenix to London, I'm gonna have to pay $914. But I could fly Phoenix to LAX for only $99, then buy a round trip ticket from LAX to London for $385. That way, it only cost me $484 instead of $914. That's almost 50% off just for planning my own layover. Tip number 3, plan a stopover. Now, if you're planning your own layover, this is really easy. You can just fly out a day early or a day later. But some airlines will even allow you to extend a layover by 24 to 48 hours at no extra charge. This is a perfect way to see a new city without spending any extra money. Tip number 4, sign up for Scotch Cheap Flights. What's easier than finding your own cheap flights? Letting someone else find them for you. That's exactly what Scotch Cheap Flights does. They email you every time they see a cheap deal. Sometimes there are even mistakes by the airline that are super discounted. This service is completely free. There is a paid version, but I used the free one for over a year before I finally upgraded to the paid one. Tip number 5, fly carry-on only. Some of these cheap deals do come with a catch. They do not include checked baggage. But if you can manage to fly carry-on only, not only will you save on bag fees, the airline can never lose your bag, and as soon as you land, you can just walk off the plane and start exploring the new city. Tip number 6, always search for flights in private browsing. A lot of airlines are sneaky. They track your cookies and search history and raise prices on flights that you've been watching. In order to prevent this, just use private browsing, then they can't track any of that information. If you have a VPN, that's even better because you can check the prices of flights in different countries, which sometimes saves you a couple bucks. Tip number 7, cross-check your deals among travel comparison websites. Once you find a good deal, you're going to want to search those dates and airports on other travel websites to make sure you're getting the best deal. 3 that I recommend are Google Flights, Skyscanner, and Momondo. Tip number 8, when to book. There's a common misconception out there that if you want to find the best deal on a flight, you have to book as far in advance as possible. That's simply not true. For domestic flights, you want to book 2 to 8 weeks in advance, and international flights 3 to 12 weeks in advance. Tip number 9, book now and ask your boss later. A lot of airlines offer a 24-hour risk-free government-mandated cancellation policy. This is even for basic economy tickets that say they're non-refundable. That means if you find a good deal, you can book the flight and ask your boss for the time off the next day. Worst case scenario, your boss says no and you call the airline to get a full refund. Tip number 10, points and miles. You're going to want to get yourself a good travel rewards credit card that earns points or miles that you can redeem for free travel. A lot of these cards will even offer you a sign-up bonus of $500 to $1,500 in free travel. You should only put money on these cards that you planned on spending anyway. and make sure to pay the balance in full at the end of every month. If you do that, you will never pay interest and you will reap the benefits of free travel. You do need a credit score around 700 and above in order to get started. Now let's say you wanted to go out and buy 3 Supreme bricks. That's gonna cost you about $540. But instead of putting that money on your debit card, you put that money on the new Freedom Unlimited that you just opened up that gives you $200 back after you spend $500. That means you saved almost 40% just by putting that money on a credit card instead of a debit card. Make sure you do pay your balance off in full at the end of every month. That way you never pay interest and only buy things that you were already planning on purchasing. This card's perfect for starting out because it has no annual fee, so you can just keep the card open and keep improving your credit score. It also only requires a credit score around 680 or above to get approved. I did leave my referral link down in the description if any of you guys are interested in signing up. I do want to take a minute to thank you guys for watching. I am new on YouTube, so it would mean a lot to me if you guys could subscribe and leave a comment down below with any recommendations on how I could improve my videos. Let's jump right into the real example and start looking for a cheap flight. I've shown you guys my 10 tips that I always use anytime I'm searching for a cheap flight. Now we're gonna hop right into the computer and start searching for a cheap deal on the spot. So the first thing that I always like to do is open up Google Flights. This is the most powerful, user-friendly search engine for flights currently on the market in my own personal experience. The first thing I always do is type in any of those hub airports that we talked about. For me, it's gonna be Phoenix, LAX, Las Vegas, and Tucson. Then we're just gonna plug some dates into the calendar. We can play around with these and refine them later once we do decide on our destination. This is going to open up the world map. This will show you exactly how much it costs to fly anywhere in the world just by looking at a map. That's perfect if you do want to get away on a vacation, but you don't quite know where you want to go and you don't really want to break the bank. There were a couple good deals in Asia, but if we hop over to Europe, it looks like we've got a bunch of deals under $500. We've got London at $424 round trip, Barcelona, Warsaw looks like a good deal. The one I'm eyeing right now though is Paris. Now Paris, it says it's only $406 round trip. But when we go into more details, I bet we can get that cheaper. First thing I'm gonna do is hop into the calendar, where we can see if there just happens to be a cheaper day to fly on our current route. Looks like if we fly out a month later, it'll save us a little bit of money. So we're gonna go ahead and select that and go through the booking process to see what Google Flights final price is. Looks like they even managed to save us more money, only coming up at $352 round trip. So we're gonna hop onto Skyscanner and Momondo and see if any of them have a better deal. Doesn't quite look like it, so we're gonna hop back into Google Flights and finish booking this deal. And as you can see, the final total does come out to $352 round trip for a flight from LAX to Paris. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below with any tips that I may have missed. That way we can all help each other out. I'll see you guys next time.